Okay. Shabbat Shalom. I apologize for starting 1 minute late, but that's how we roll here. We try to start on time. No song sheet tonight because every song is in your prayer book on page 40. So open up your prayer book to page 40. And throughout the service, if you hear a song that you don't know, just turn to page 40. Because that's what tonight's all about. So I'm going to be capo 2, and we're in B minor, concert B minor. I just told them that there was no song sheet tonight.
No song sheet.
No song sheet, and if they are confused about what song we're doing, just to turn to page 40, right?
What's on 40?
Page 40? What's on page 40? Chamocha. That's what we're doing. We're doing about, I don't know. You count how many Chamochas.
Like one?
We're going to do more than one.
2?
More than 2.
Like 10 maybe?
Yeah, like maybe 10. I don't know.
Same
kind
tune
of 1, 2,
over and over
one,
and
two,
over again?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to do at least 8. 8 of them.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Okay.
And you're going to explain why, because you asked me to.
Oh, okay.
It's
going to be cool.
So this first one is by Debbie Friedman, and it starts, the words are very simple at the beginning. Sing with me. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Chamocha ba'eli Madonna, Chamocha neder v'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha, ke'ayam livnei Moshe, ze Elianu ve'amaru, Elianu ve'amaru, Adonai imot le'olam va'ed, Adonai imot le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'eli Madonna, mi chamocha neder v'kodesh, Nora tehilot everybody, yai-lai. Yai-lai, lai, la, lai, la, 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 la. Yai-lai, lai, la, lai, la, 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 la. Yai-lai, la, lai, la, lai, la, 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 la. Yai-lai, lai, lai, la, lai, lai, lai. Okay, and now another interpretation. This is supposed to be tied to the previous song, another Debbie Friedman song, but I guess after, this explains why, a little bit about why we're doing so many Chamochas. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. Sing with me. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea. The wonders of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. Sing together. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Paul Kipnis with Cantor Doug Kotler. We welcome you here to Shabbat services. Scott Rabin is on piano, and you are all, Michael Kaplan is on camera, photography, and you are all here on voices and warmth and community. We're thrilled you're here tonight. Welcome to all of you who are worshiping with us via the live stream. Thank you to Bronze Productions for making that possible. We hope you will enjoy the holiness of this moment through your iPhone, your Android, or whatever you're watching. You're not watching, you're praying with us with. And all of you who are here, you don't need to have your iPhones or your Androids or anything on. In fact, you can feel free to turn them off if you want, so you don't have to worry. What are we doing here tonight? Besides prayer, besides lifting each other's up, besides intoning Shema, the watchword of our faith, being with beloved congregants as they remember a loved one who's passed, celebrating with a couple of families as they walk forward to Bat Mitzvah tomorrow. We are here to place ourselves within a tradition. We're here to connect to Torah portion Bishalach, the Song of the Sea, when the Israelites were there and the Egyptians were coming after them and the sea opened and they made their way through. I want you to imagine that you were one of those Israelites, that you had finally crossed the Red Sea from slavery to freedom. I want you to imagine, as my friend Rabbi Leah Berkowitz imagined, that when you got to the other side, you burst out in song. Of course you would. Why? Because you saw a miracle. Because the sea had split and you made your way through. And you knew that when you get to those miraculous moments in life, mere words will not suffice. And then something bizarre happened. The women got up and began to follow Miriam, as the cantor sang, who led them in song with dancing and with timbrels. A timbrel is a hand drum, an animal skin stretched over a wooden frame. Song and dance, that doesn't take much forethought. You can just get up and do it. But timbrels, how did they have the wherewithal to pack these musical instruments when they didn't have time, as we learn on Passover, to bake bread, right? They had the matzah because it didn't have time to rise. Rabbi Yishmael says in the Talmud that the women of Israel were so confident that a miracle would occur that they packed their timbrels in anticipation. It was a sign of their deep faith in God and hope for the future. But there's a nagging question. Where did they get the timbrels in the first place? One theory is that the women were so confident that redemption was imminent that they started crafting those timbrels, those, what's an English word? Tambourines, timbrels in secret when they were still slaves. Another theory is that the women were so faithful that they kept their timbrels from before they were slaves, some 400 years before, passing them down midor lador from generation to generation. in hopes that one day they would use them to celebrate freedom. But my favorite theory is the one that Rabbi Leah Berkovitz suggests, that the women were making use of their timbrels even while they were slaves in Egypt, even while they were oppressed, even as their bodies ached from long days gathering straw and making bricks, birthing babies and raising children. They would gather in the evenings and make music and dance by the light of the full moon. Even as their spirits were crushed by cruel taskmasters and vile decrees, they gathered to make something beautiful out of what little they had. At a time when they should have been too tired or dispirited to move on, they would take up their hand drums and dance and sing with defiance and hope, and every once in a while with real joy. That was their response to the world. Because really, what else could they do? How else could they survive 400 years enslaved without making music, without throwing their bodies into dance? The need for singing and celebrating is so strong that we seek it out even as we struggle with our most basic needs. So I ask you, what instrument would you carry with you? Are you carrying with you right now? Where do you seek out the miracles in life and celebrate even in the difficult times, the sad times, the hard times? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, whose birthday we celebrate, we remember this weekend, along with Dr. Martin Luther King, who we remember this weekend, and the two of them marched Selma and beyond together, wrote that there is a built-in sense of indebtedness to the consciousness of humanity, an awareness of owing gratitude, of being called up upon certain moments to reciprocate, to answer, to live in a way which is compatible with grandeur and the mystery of living. In other words, there's a need to celebrate the wonder of the world, to sing and dance and play those instruments, those timbrels, even when we feel like we don't have the strength to do anything. Tonight we will sing many different versions of Mi Chamocha, modern ones, ancient ones, some that Cantor Doug wrote that his son, Rabbi Cantor Kyle Kotler, wrote that his father used to sing, Cantor Kotler before Doug. We'll sing them repeatedly because we need to celebrate, even in the most difficult times, the beauty of life. Tonight we celebrate as two young people become Benot Mitzvah, Bat Mitzvah each. So if you are here with Darla as she becomes a Bat Mitzvah, where is she? Where are you all? Let me have you rise for just a second. Stand on up so we can say to all of you, it won't hurt. I'm not going to make you do anything beyond. And to you we all say, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Now sit back down. You did great. And if you are here with Sophia as she becomes Bat Mitzvah tomorrow Eve, also let me have you please rise. And to all of you we say, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for being here. Let me invite the Bat Mitzvahs and your sisters and your parents up to the bima. Let's turn to page 2. Page 2 for Hadlakat Nerot, the lighting of the candles.
Vitzivanu lehadlik ner, Vitzivanu lehadlik ner, וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. הלה לה 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 יה לה 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 לה
Page 28. Please rise for the Baruch Hu. Page 28. Let's turn to page 35. Page 35. Darla.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God.
Let's join together.
Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all of your mind. Write them and learn them, teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen, listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you can hear if you listen, listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malechuto Leolam. Listen, listen to our God. Listen, listen to our God.
Whoops. Page 40. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la la.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'dar b'kodesh, norati lo osef eleh, norati lo osef eleh.
Together, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, la 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 la, ya la la ya la.
Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeh ayam lifne Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Together, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, la 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 la, ya la la ya la la.
Keep the book open with me to page 40, and let's just read together the words of Mi Chamocha found in the Torah, the first paragraph. So in the middle of the page, those first 4 lines are directly out of the Torah, out of a part called Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. This is what the Israelites sang, led by Moses and led by Miriam. And the first 4 lines together: Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working one? So stop there. They just made it through the Red Sea. They survived. The Egyptians were drowned, the ones coming after them, Pharaoh's army. And they said, who is like you, O God? You are incomparable. But notice the second line. Among the other gods that are worshipped. Remember in Egypt, there was a god of the sun and a god of the Nile and a god of the animals and the lamb whose blood we put on the doorpost they thought was a god. And who did they think was the god of gods? Pharaoh. And remember the 10 plagues? The 10 plagues, some say, was really God, the one and only God. Understand it within the Jewish context and the Israelite context. Showing that the pantheon, the god structure of the ancient Egyptians, they weren't gods at all. Because what did God, with the first plague, blotted out the sun? The sun isn't a god, if God could blot it out. The Nile, that gave fertility to the whole area, God killed it. How? Filling it with blood. And then in the 10th plague, the god of gods for the Egyptians, Pharaoh, couldn't even protect his own son because he was just a man and God was God. Chamocha is a statement that there were other gods worshipped, but you, God, there's none like you in holiness, awesome in splendor, working those wonders. And tonight's service will focus on some of the ideas that come out of it. But now let's turn in our prayer book to Vishamru, that prayer also from Torah that reminds us that that Shabbat is a sign of the covenant between God and the Jewish people. Vishamru. In the middle of page 44.
Okay. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם.
Together.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
There's a piece, I'm going to invite April to come on up. She's going to read a poem. There's a piece in the Torah that describes the creation of the Mishkan. That describes the creation of the Mishkan, the wandering sanctuary in the wilderness. It talks about all the tables they have and the ark itself, and it talks about the tent of meeting. And it describes each piece and each piece of wood and each piece of tool that they use in the synagogue. And one of the most amazing things is they talk about there's going to be a covering, like a curtain, in front of the commandments, the 10 Commandments. And it's going to be made out of dolphin skin. And you say to yourself, why dolphins? Where do they have dolphins in the middle of the wilderness? Go back to the Red Sea. Remember, it's a sea. It was split. And there's one midrash that suggests that how did the elderly and the sick and the disabled get through that long path of the Red Sea? That the dolphins came right to the edge of the water. So they were half in and half out, and had the people who were too sick or old to walk on their own sit on their backs, and they carried them through. It's a beautiful midrash. And so how were they celebrated? They got to, their skin got to be closest to the Holy of Holies, the Torah, the 10 Commandments. Now, would have been nicer if there was a way to honor them without having them killed. But besides that, what else might it have been? My friend Rabbi Zoe Klein of Temple Isaiah in Los Angeles wrote this beautiful poem, which April, our congregant, will share.
Chamocha poem by Rabbi Zoe Klein. At the shores of the sea, Egyptians closing in behind us, the water in front of you. Which is more frightening, the sword or the fact that you can't swim? God, with a crash, splits the sea. The people are rushing across. Air is so cool, tingling froth. You run your fingers along the walls of the water, feel its electricity, and you can't help but slip your hand in. And then you stop. You're the only one to do so, and you put your face in the wall of water. You see translucent waves of life, of sea life, fish darting, glinting colors fluorescent. You laugh when you think how, when people say earth tones, they mean shades of brown. When here there are neons and jellyfish that radiate. A dolphin darts past, and on impulse, you reach and grab its tail and whoosh, zoom through the water. And as you zip through the water, the years roll off of you. You've found the fountain of youth. Every pore is cleansed. Every stain is removed. Every fear is dissolved. In layers and layers, it all peels off. And the moment you remember, you have to breathe. The dolphin shoots up into the air, and you take the deepest breath you've ever taken. Your lungs like sails on a giant ship, and again the dolphin dives and leaps, and the Egyptians put down their weapons, and the Israelites on the other side silence their timbrels mid-air as they turn to see you flying above the waves, shouting, "Whee!" You've never felt so alive, soaring above the sea. Whee! This is what freedom is all about.
Page 40.
Chamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot, O Sefele, Molechutecha, Ra'uvanecha, Pukei Ayam Lifnei Moshe, Umeriam, Se'eli, Anu ve'amiru, Adonai, like you, so awesome in splendor, maker of miracles before our very eyes, giving us the courage, answering our cries, leading us past fear and doubt. On this journey towards freedom, we all sing out, Adonai Yimlo Leolam, forever and ever, forever, forever and ever.
That version of Mi Chamocha was written by Cheryl, her son Daniel. Daniel, wave for a second. And Paul Kipnis. Thank you. There's so many versions of this song. Some that use the Hebrew, some the English, some that interpret the ideas to push us, to make us think about majesty, about belief, about what God is, has been, could be in our lives. This one, by our Cantor-Cobbler.
You wake up in the morning, find it hard to focus. You're feeling empty and cold. Look into the mirror, try to do some stretching. There's no escaping getting old. You change your habits, you call the doctor. You take a head full of Valium. You join a health club, get your hair fixed, trying anything to keep yourself young, trying anything to find out who's the one. You're searching somewhere to find the meaning and ease your lingering doubt. Someone surely must have an answer. They'll know what it's about. You tune in channels, you check out teachers, but what they tell you always leaves you numb. You download data, you bring in experts, searching everywhere to see what's right and wrong, searching everywhere to find out who's the one. Who's the one who sets us free from the house of slavery? Source of strength, eternal light, the one that leads us through the night. What's that behind you, hiding in the shadows? You're really shaking a lot. You seek protection, you want insurance that they won't get what you've got. You make investments, you run for office, you build a missile, you buy a gun, retain a lawyer, install a deadbolt, doing anything so you're not overcome, doing anything to find out who's the one. Who's the one who sets us free from the house of source of strength, eternal light, the one that leads us through the night. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha edar ba'kodesh, nora tehilo osef eleh, nora tehilo osef eleh.
We must live in a world of the ordinary. But if we open our eyes and look, really look, we can glimpse the extraordinary. Moses learned this lesson. He had to work hard in the world of the ordinary. What was he doing? He was shepherding his father-in-law Yitro's flock. And he arrived at a place of the miraculous. So focused fully on his livelihood, he happened upon a burning bush, fascinatingly ordinary. This bush burned in the wilderness and it tempted Moses to do something extraordinary, to slow down, enough to open his eyes to really look at that bush. And then he noticed that it was burning, but it was not being consumed. And that very moment changed his life and changed the life of our people. When we open our eyes and look, really look, we can glimpse the extraordinary. The Israelites learned this lesson that we recount in this week's parashah. Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, at the heart of this Torah portion, recounts the seemingly ordinary on the way to uncovering the extraordinary. It recounts the Israelites' experience fleeing Pharaoh at the Red Sea. It begins with the ordinary. And then, according to the Baal Torah Tmimah Rabbi Baruch Epstein, it's a later verse in the song that describes the extraordinarily miraculous event. In Exodus 15:19 we read, "But the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea." Rabbi Dolgan interprets saying, only at the very end of the song is the true miracle revealed, the deliverance of Israel. The supernatural, God's hand, is only mentioned at the end. The Israelites existed like us, in the ordinary, but rushing through the Red Sea, trying to survive. It was then that they looked back and realized where they had come from and where they were now. And it's at that moment that they glimpsed the extraordinary. My friends, we too must learn this lesson. We rush through life, right? Doing our work, going to school, feeding the families, pursuing our livelihoods, trying to make ends meet. Simply ordinary tasks in the pursuit of life's rhythms. Just trying sometimes to get through. And then every so often we slow down enough and look around. Really look. And then we glimpse the extraordinary. Like we're standing at the supermarket, fumbling to find our credit card, and we hear the person at the cash register ask us how we are doing. And for a minute, we engage in a heart-to-heart with a complete stranger. In the midst of the ordinary, we experience the extraordinary. Or we're sitting in a restaurant ordering our meal and we look over at the people next to us, similarly enjoying a dinner out. We notice how different they initially seem in skin color, in dress, in natural origin, in age, and we almost just turn away. Until we really look and recognize how similar they are to us. Another human being created B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. And they offer us a smile. And we smile back. And we engage in a kind word, offer up a short conversation. Barriers broken, walls of separation come crashing down. And we both walk forward to freedom, having rediscovered the extraordinary. Other people, not different. No walls needed. We're all like each other. Or exhausted after a long day of work or minding the kids, we are lost in ordinary tasks of closing up for the day, putting the kids to bed or paying those bills or cleaning up after dinner or preparing for the next day. And a child meanders over, or a spouse glances up, or a friend sends us a text. Can we look away from our ordinary concerns for a moment to see the extraordinary before us? Here's our child. There's our spouse or partner. Here comes our friend. And they want to engage with us. We see the miraculousness before us, a soul yearning for connection. Will we turn to connect? Will we deepen the relationship? Will we discover the extraordinary in the midst of the ordinary? The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, said that the difference between a miracle and a natural event is only in frequency. A miracle, he said, is a novel event, a new thing that happens for the first time in nature. But after it repeats itself, this too becomes nature. Perhaps then our goal, this Shabbat, this weekend, this week to come and beyond, is to live fully in the ordinary, but to look, really to look around and see the extraordinary embedded in it. The Kotzker Rebbe was a young child when he was asked, "Where is God?" To which he replied, "Wherever you let God in." So open your eyes. Let go every so often of the ordinary and see God's signature in the extraordinary among us. There you might discover the Holy One. There you might find the sea splitting, metaphorically. And then you'll be impelled. You'll need to sing a song of praise for the miracles in our lives. And maybe it sounds something like Cantor Kotler's Sons, Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nedar HaKodesh Nora Tehilo Osef Ele Adonai Imloch How many of you grew up with the Union prayer book? The little prayer book with the red satin, what was that, like a little bookmark?
Bookmark, yeah.
Like the little string?
This big.
How many of you used to hold it by the little red thing and twirl the book while the rabbi was
Droning on and on.
doing the sermon? So the next Chamocha was written by my father, and he took the text from the Union Prayer Book, the English, right before the Chamocha. So his father was a cantor also, and so when our son became a cantor, he started calling me Cantor Kotler 3.0, and he would call himself Cantor Kotler 4.0, fewer bugs, more reliable. So this is what I used to listen to when I was about 9 years old. Eternal truth it is that thou alone art God, and there is none else, and through thy power alone has Israel been redeemed from the hands of oppressors. Great deeds hast thou wrought in our behalf, and wonders without numbers. Thou hast kept us in life, our footsteps have not faltered. Thy rod has watched over us in the night. Thy mercy has sustained us in the hour of trial. And now that we live in a land of freedom, may we continue to be faithful to thee and thy word. May thy law rule the life of all thy children, and thy truth unite their hearts in fellowship. O God, our refuge and our hope, we glorify thy name now, as did our fathers in ancient days. Mi chamocha bo'elam Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh. No tehilot osefele, malachutcha ra'u v'honecha, zeli anu ve'amaru, Adonai imlach le'olam va'ed.
In the midst of the miraculous, we dive down into the ordinary. as we remember that even as we celebrate, we have loved ones who are struggling, dealing with illness, physical or mental or emotional, struggling spiritually, having lost a loved one, or facing down cancer or Alzheimer's or all sorts of diseases, dealing with the darkness of depression, the frustration of job loss, the worry about our kids or our parents, our beloveds. At times like that, the miraculous is just a moment, just getting through that moment, just being here that moment. We're taught that if we can hold on to just to one breath, we have touched the eternal. For in that moment, we are here. And that's all that there needs to be. So is our tradition. We sing a Misha Berach, asking God for blessings of healing. As I bring my hand around the room, I invite you to mention the names and relationship of those for whom you're asking for healing. Say it out loud. You can't catch what most of these people have. But you can offer it up so that we can support each other. Tonight, we ask for blessings of healing for
Sister Lisa, my son Brandon, my wife Luna, my mother-in-law Laura.
My cousin Emily and her family.
Brother Jerry, my sister Linda.
Sherry Urena.
My sister Patty.
For all of them and all of us, let's turn to page 253, the indented words, as we sing together.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let's say
How many of you were with us on Rosh Hashanah morning at adult services this past year? Okay, hold your hands up high. The rest of you, I need to write your names down. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Do you remember in that service when between the reading of the Torah portion, Aliyot, We had different people come up. Someone came and spoke as Abraham, talking about the Akedah, sort of a first-person narrative. And then someone came up and was Sarah, that was my wife Michelle, and then someone did Isaac. Okay, so you remember those. Well, those, and Michelle helped me write those and edit those, were what I like to call midrashic monologues. A midrash is an interpretation. And a monologue, is someone speaking. So what we did is try to go back into the Bible and try to get into the minds and hearts and souls of our biblical characters and see what were they thinking at various times. Because the Torah only gives us the brief outlines of the story, a little bit of dialogue. Well, I had so much fun doing that this past year, when I was invited by the Union for Reform Judaism to write commentaries on Torah, I started writing these midrashic monologues, one for each Torah portion, trying to get into the minds of our biblical characters. And then I worked for a couple of them with a great, wonderful rabbi from back east, Rabbi Rachel Behrman, an incredible writer and editor. And we had so much fun working together that we started a project that we're calling Midrashic Monologues. And actually, you can see our work on midrashicmonologues.com. And one day there may be a book in it, but we're trying to get into the minds of different people. So this week, we got into the minds of Moses' two mothers. Two. Well, his mother that put him in the water and made that ark, her name was Yocheved. Say Yocheved? Okay. Who's Yocheved? Okay, don't have to do anything yet, but Yocheved. And then he was taken out of the water by Pharaoh's daughter, who, according to Jewish tradition, when the Israelites left Egypt, she left with them and took a Hebrew name, Batya. Bat is daughter. Yah are the first two letters of God's name, Yud-He-Vav-He. Yud-He-Vav-He. Batya, daughter of God. So imagine that there they are standing at the shores of the Red Sea, the Egyptians coming after them. They've thrown their lot in with the Israelites. And their son, Moses, is trying to figure out what to do with the seas in front of them closed and the enemy coming to take them back to slavery. Let's listen to Yocheved, Moses' biological mom, and Batya, Moses' adopted mom, former princess of Egypt, and see what they have to say. Both of you come on up. I'll get the mics ready.
Have you ever stood outside of a moment? Have you ever experienced something so viscerally with so many of your senses that you found yourself turning it over and over again as if to study every facet of that experience? That is the way I feel standing a short distance behind my youngest son, my baby, my Moses, as he looks out at the Red Sea. I'm close enough to see that his arm is shaking as he lifts it. When I notice him trembling, I start forward, hoping to offer him my support. But my husband Amram stops me, asking me quietly to wait. Honoring his request, I look back at my son and see that his wife, Zipporah, has also noticed Moses' weakness and moves to him swiftly, laying a hand on his shoulder and whispering to him intently. I watch as my new daughter uses her arm to brace my son's. I see Moses nod, acknowledging her words and her presence, and then, with renewed faith, turn to face the sea.
Have you ever felt completely disconnected from a moment you inhabited? Have you ever been so surprised to find yourself in a place or within a group that every facet of the experience feels unreal? That is exactly how I feel standing at the shore of the Red Sea. I was a princess of Egypt. The vast majority of my life has been lived within the walls of the palace, and yet, here I stand, no longer royalty. When my beloved son returned to our home demanding freedom for the Israelites, I knew right away that I would never allow anything to separate me from my Moses. If he was taking his people out of Egypt, then I would be leaving with him. So here I am, just one member of the mixed multitude that follows him. I watch as Moses raises his staff over the water. I smile as Zipporah moves closer to him, offering him her support. Gazing back to the sea, I try to blink back the tears in my eyes. the baby that the river once brought to me is again dependent on women and water. I can only hope that in this moment, both treat him as kindly as we, his mothers, did all those years ago.
When the east wind begins to blow and the water starts to tremble, a rush of energy vibrates along and through my son's body. It is as if he is the conduit between the God above and the mysteries of the deep sea below. Zipporah wraps herself around him, trying to steady and strengthen him as powers flows and churns around all of us. My heart is full of fear for my son, and I turn to catch the eye of the woman who raised my Moses, the woman who protected him when I could not. Batia, once a princess, and I, once a protector, have been walking together for the last day or so, taking turns sharing our memories of the boy we both loved and our dreams for the man our boy is becoming. Even before I look for her, I can sense her presence at my side. It feels right for us to stand together as we watch our son fulfill his destiny as God's agent in our world.
I lock eyes with Yocheved, the first mother of my son, and we reach for one another. Like Zipporah and Moses, we stand engulfed in power, holding on to each other so tightly that it's as if we are one another's only tethers to this world. And then, miraculously, in a rush, the waters part, and suddenly all of us are propelled toward freedom, reborn. All throughout the caravan, fear and frustration dissipate and are replaced, at least momentarily, with the giddy joy that comes after any birth. Moses has delivered us into the new world, into a new existence. Yocheved's daughter, Miriam, lets out a wild yell and rushes into the space between the seas. She begins to sing and dance, undaunted by the squish of the wet sand that lines our path through the waters. As if unfrozen by her celebration, the people follow her lead, flooding into the space Moses' God has made.
Bati and I continue to stand together. We watch our son worrying together. Moses is bent at the waist and breathing raggedly. He looks exhausted, depleted, as if he had run for many miles in the heat of the day. It seems as if Zipporah has unyielding will and only reasons he still stands upright. I can feel Batia's fear for our son's life. I'm feeling much the same. For many moments, the two of us stand completely still, afraid for our boy.
Suddenly, a change comes over Moses. Yocheved and I simultaneously sigh in relief. When his breath begins to smooth, we lean forward, watching, fearful, hopeful. Then suddenly, Moses turns to face us. His smile glows so brightly that Yocheved and I stand bathed in light. He throws his arms around Zipporah, and both of them laugh and cry tears of relief at having bested this latest challenge. In the face of their joy, I turn to my sister, the first mother of my son. Her face is filled with pride, and I know that mine is a perfect reflection of hers. We embrace each other once again, offering silent gratitude for the strength that the other instilled within our son. Each of us understands exactly what it took for Moses to survive the day's events. Without either of us, he would not have had enough within him to do the work of his God.
I followed Zipporah and her boys into the sea. I watched as Batia, still unsure of her place in our people, moved slowly, staying behind me, offering me the higher position. I reached back, offering my hand, calling out to her loudly and with great purpose, Batia, daughter of the sea, the second mother of Moses, join me as we together travel into our new life. She hurries to my side and offers me a smile that speaks to our shared stories, our shared destinies. We walk together through the waters. When we reach the other side, Moses stands on the shore, arms open wide, waiting for us. He smiles at Zipporah and chuckles when his sons use their arms to demonstrate the size of the fish they had seen. And then our son turns to the two of us. He offers us his hands, draws us from the water, and brings us into our new lives. He says, Imohet Sheli, walk before me. I am honored to follow in the footsteps of my mothers.
Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proved in vain, hope seemed like the summer birds too swiftly flown away. But now I'm standing here with heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. You will when you believe.
Shira l'Adonai ki gaoga, Hashira l'Adonai ki gaoga, Ni chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Ni kamocha nedar, Ba'kodesh nachita v'chasdecha, Hamzugalta, nachita v'chasdecha, Hamzugalta, Ashira, Ashira, Ashira.
There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles we can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. Now you will. You will when you believe. You will when you
Woo is right. Good job, Cassidy.
Sometimes it's just one song again and again that reminds you of the miracles, the miracle of incredible music, the miracle of getting inside the heads of our ancients, the miracle of bringing to life the extraordinary amidst the ordinary. And that's what we try to do every day, every moment, whenever we're here. Tomorrow we get to experience two incredible miracles as two of our students become bat mitzvah tomorrow. And so I'd like to call up Michael Kaplan, the past president, and Darla and Sophia to join me up here on the bima, for we have a gift from the congregation for each of you.
How you doing? Good. Earlier today, the rabbi said, in the midst of the ordinary, we experience the extraordinary, and this is clearly the extraordinary. We have two extraordinary young ladies here, each of whom will become a bat mitzvah tomorrow. And I usually forget if I don't do it right away, but we have from the congregation, from the Hinenu Caring Committee, from the board, from all of Congregation Orami, we have a mezuzah for each of you. And now I have a few things to say. Earlier today, and I've got it on my phone, so I've got a few notes here. Darla, I spoke with your mother earlier today, and I learned a few things about you. You're a skater, is that right? But I mean a skater, a competitive skater, a world-class competitive skater, right? And you figure skate, and you compete on the national level. This is pretty serious stuff, isn't it? Pretty serious stuff. Synchronized skating, figure skating, theater on ice. I mean, we've got a real skater. This is not someone who's, who's just playing.
Not something you and I can do, Michael.
No. I butt skate. When I'm on the skates, I land on my butt and that.
Tuchus skating.
That's right. So, in preparation for your bat mitzvah, did Diane take good care of you? She worked you pretty hard?
Oh, yeah.
You probably didn't like her in the beginning, but at this point, you're thankful that she really worked you that hard because you're so ready. And I've heard about an organization called Water Wells for Africa. Tell us a little bit about Water Wells for Africa.
It's an organization that builds wells in Africa. Yeah.
And wells to bring clean drinking water to the people that they otherwise would not have.
Yeah.
Correct? And that was your mitzvah project?
Yeah.
And I understand that to raise money for them, you made necklaces.
Yeah.
And you made necklaces and they had little water droplets and you sold them and you raised money and you sent the money to Water Wells for Africa.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Very, very noble project. I understand that everyone loves you, that, your friends' parents and all, that your family, that you're really, really connected. And we're all very proud of you. And mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Mazel tov. Okay. Now to the next page on my phone. Sophia, how are you today?
Good.
Very
How are
good.
you?
I am beyond sensational, but I'm happy. This is my favorite part of Congregation Orami.
We can tell.
Yeah? Yeah. That's good. At least it shows. But yet just getting up and talking to our young people who are becoming bar and bat mitzvah. So the word Legos came up when I was speaking with your mother, and we were talking about robotics. Is that correct? I have a grandson who's into robotics and Legos, and maybe sometime you and I can have a chat, and you can tell me what kind of stuff I should be getting him to keep him happy. You're into math and science. Is that your kind of thing? Minecraft, the beach. I understand your family has a home up in Carpinteria. Is that correct? And you spend a lot of time involved in water activities, boogie boarding, also rock climbing. Okay. You are, what else can I say about you? Oh, and for your mitzvah project, I understand you're into cats. correct? And you worked at a cat shelter, and we have something in common. One of my favorite restaurants is Cat's Deli in New York.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's bad.
Okay.
Okay, anyway,
That's,
but I understand your mitzvah project was volunteering at a cat shelter that takes in adult cats that otherwise wouldn't have homes and make sure that they're well taken care of. Is that correct? I understand that you're an outstanding student at AC Still. I've heard only good things about you, and anyway, mazel tov. May tomorrow go really well, outstandingly well for both of you. This is Orami with the training you've got with the superstar, all-star team that we have. Cantor Doug, Rabbi Paul, Rabbi Julia, Diane Townsend. There's no way anything can go wrong tomorrow. I mean, it's all going to be just great. And mazel tov to each of you and to your families.
Semen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, semen tov, semen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, semen tov, semen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, semen tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom. Hope you enjoyed being with us tonight. Thank you to Cantor Doug for putting together a beautiful mix of different kinds of Chamocha tunes for lifting us up. Thank you, Scott, for playing in music. You're incredible. We're thrilled you're part of the congregation and that you're playing such beautiful music. I want to tell you all about a number of wonderful things happening. Next Friday night, we're going to have Deep Thinking Shabbat. Cantor Kotler and our rabbinic intern, Mayor Bargeron, are going to explore the 10 commandments we never heard about, asking what was the first set of the commandments that Moses received that he broke, and how do we experience that brokenness in our world? So come experience that next week. Now, great service you're not going to want to miss on February 1st is our Inclusion Shabbat service and dinner. In addition to exploring how we are as inclusive as we can be, bringing everyone in, no matter what your background, where you're from, your ideas, everybody brought in. We're going to hear from 3 incredible experiences. Number one is we're going to hear from Sierra Mazzaros, who's the nifty youth director up in Northern California. She's going to talk on reflections of being a Jewish woman of color. And then we're going to hear from Carolyn Weiss, who's going to speak on Living My Dream, a trans woman's journey. And then we have a special musical guest.
Daniel Kander from London just happens to be traveling through on a concert schedule, and I've sung a couple of his songs at High Holidays. He's my favorite contemporary Jewish songwriter. He'll be here. He's going to stop in and do a few songs for us. He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. You remember Grateful?
Grateful.
I was going to sing a couple of bars, but
That's
we're not
okay.
going to. Okay.
We're grateful that you don't. Thank you.
That was the rabbi's wife, Michelle.
That was the rabbi's
Okay.
wife.
Who paid for a little button on our new sound system that just silences the mics when something stupid's about. Dr. Wendy Mogul, a New York Times best-selling author, is going to be here at our Parenting Mental Health Summit on April 7th to speak on her new book, Voice Lessons for Parents. It's going to be an incredible thing. January 26th, adult bowling. No, bowling for adults only. That's a better way of saying it. We're going to do 2 full hours of bowling at Corbin Bowl. It's going to be incredible. Sign up for it. There's social action things that I can tell you about, but one more thing. Cheryl Bronstein, wave for a second. Stand up so we remember. Cheryl sings, come on, it won't hurt. Stand
Just
up. Okay,
stand up.
now sit down.
Okay.
This is Cheryl Bronstein. She is a longtime congregant, but even more, she is a composer of incredible Jewish music. She sang one of her own pieces, sang with Cantor Doug, and anyone who's been at any of our high holidays has heard 1, 2, 3, 4 of her pieces at various times. She's got a CD out, whatever. She's one of our honorees at Ora Mi One, the party of the century that's going to be happening in March. Where's Ike
On the
and
left, yeah.
Brooke Prost? Stand up for just a second. Awesome, and now sit down. Ike and Brooke are our other honorees. Congregant, people who are part of the Partnership of Orami, you received an email this past week talking about getting tickets to this incredible celebration. It is not a gala, it is the party of the century, and you want to be there. Many levels of partnership here in the congregation include tickets to the Orami one, but you have to claim them by going on and registering. Some levels, the congregant level, and some others don't, but you can purchase those tickets. You want to celebrate with these people, but more, you want to have a great time. It's going to be incredible.
When is it?
When is it?
March 16th.
I think I'm away.
No,
I'm not? Okay, I'm here.
No, we're definitely here.
We're going to be here. And it serves three purposes. One is to honor these incredible, praiseworthy people, and we do want to honor them for your gifts to the congregation. Secondly, it allows us to have a great celebration, a great party, and we're going to get down and boogie. What's the name? Dance, celebrate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. Eat, drink, play games, and so on. And then it also helps us raise the funds that support the congregation into the coming year. We're having a silent auction where we're going to collect items and then auction it off. The money of which for all of this underwrites the youth programming and the adult programming. It ensures that even if fires come and mean we have to get out of this building for a year, we can get the staff we need to help do all the things to reach out. It ensures that we can teach Torah, that we can do the social action work that we do, and more. It's important. It helps sustain us. There's some other ways that you can help. Susie, you want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it? Okay.
You're on a roll. Yeah.
I noticed that at the back there's a board. That's our Orami One sponsorship board, and there are opportunities to sponsor, like the paddle race or the kissing booth. There's no kissing booth. No. I don't have my glasses on. I can't read from that. But like the
maybe for next year.
Dunk the Rabbi. We're not having a dunk booth. Okay, sorry, man. But
I'm writing that one down. That's a good
the
idea.
napkins, and we're having all these fun tables and games, and those are possible. And you'll read the board there. 3 of them have already been called for. Maybe you'll do that. You can talk to Deanna or Susie Gruber. Raise your hand. Susie's helping organize that. You can put a tribute in our tribute journal honoring either or both or all of our honorees in thanking them for their good works. Whatever, please come. It helps Orami be Orami into the year to come. Because believe it or not, Cantor Doug needs the support so that he ensures that when it's time for people to do solos like Cassidy, that he has time to write the part for me to do a duet with her. You know, she was singing her part and I was singing the silent part that the cantor wrote out, and that takes time, energy, and money.
Yes, it does.
I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. But thank you for being here. Thank you for worshiping with us and celebrating with us. Let's turn in our prayer books to page 294. Look, whenever we're together to celebrate, we take a moment to remember the loved ones who are no longer with us. Like the Israelites that endured and then wandered and then gave our people life so it could go forward, we each have people who we hold in our hearts and minds as our own, those who died at this season or in years past. As is our tradition, I'm going to invite you to mention their names and their relationship to you aloud. But first, we remember today particularly Karen Schur, who passed and we buried just this past week, a congregant of ours. May her memory be for a blessing. We also remember Penny Stark, whose memorial service will be this Sunday here at Orami at 3 p.m. And some of you remembering your loved ones, we invite you to mention their names and relationship to you aloud. This evening we remember
my father-in-law, John Berry.
My cousin, Rose Tufel.
My mother, Esther, my father, Oscar, my Aunt Nettie.
My father, Mickey.
My brother, Barry.
My sister, Vanessa, my brother, Dale.
My mother, Renee. My husband, George Levinson.
My uncle, Leon Steinberg.
Business colleague Sam Christensen.
My wife, Karen Shear.
May their memories be for blessing us. On page 294, we rise as together we say, Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalah v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei d'kedusha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlom Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav v'yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Let me have you take your prayer books and put them on your seat as we prepare to end services in a Orami, California way. If you're comfortable, put your arms around the people next to you. We'll sing our nighttime song, Hashkivenu. I'll give you the Hebrew, then the English. You just sing along with us. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom.
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 V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu.
V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu.
L'Chaim.
L'Chaim.
Ufros Aleinu. Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Aleinu. Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen.
Amen.
Shelter us beneath thy wings.
Shelter us beneath thy wings.
O Adonai.
O Adonai.
Guard us from all harmful things.
Guard us from all harmful.
O Adonai.
Keep
us safe throughout the night.
Keep us safe throughout the night.
Till we wake with morning's light.
Till we wake with morning's
Teach us
light.
daily wrong from right.
Teach us daily wrong from
O Adonai. Walk through life and miss the blessings around you. Or you can be like my father-in-law, Murray November, who turned 86 just yesterday or the day before, who every day wakes up and sees the blessings, his wife beside him, his family around him, the ability to have a good cup of coffee, talk with friends. You can find the extraordinary in the ordinary. You don't have to dig far. Just gonna put down your cell phone. I have trouble with that. But open your eyes and look around. And then you can praise the Holy One for getting you through the Red Sea. Or just being together. And then you'll want to sing like this. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.